Lithium-ion batteries power a $110 billion industry. But the company that invented them commercially, Sony, bet everything on a dangerous chemistry that could explode. Their competitor, Panasonic, played it safe, stuck with proven technology. By 2000, Sony controlled 70% of the portable battery market. Panasonic was irrelevant. This is the battery war. How Sony won by shipping before it was safe. How Tesla turned commodity cells into a $38 billion empire. And why solid-state batteries, the future for 30 years, have generated zero revenue. Here's how a lithium-ion battery actually works. Inside your phone right now, there's a microscopic workforce, lithium ions. When you charge, they move from the cathode to the anode. When you use your phone, they travel back. Each round trip is called a charge cycle. They can make this journey about 500 times before they start getting tired. Now, imagine each cycle is like stretching a rubber band. Stretch it gently, within its limits, and it'll last for years. But stretch it to its absolute breaking point every single time? It snaps. This is what happens when you constantly drain your battery to 0% or charge it to 100%. You're operating at voltage extremes, maximum stress. At 0%, the anode becomes chemically unstable. Little metallic crystals called dendrites start forming, like rust on metal. They're permanent scars. At 100%, the cathode is fully saturated, overstuffed with ions. Hold it there for hours and it starts to crack at the molecular level. But here's the challenge that every battery maker faces. You can maximize energy density, pack more power into a smaller space. Or you can maximize safety, prevent fires and explosions. You cannot have both. Push lithium-ion too hard, and you get Samsung Galaxy Note 7. 2.5 million units recalled after batteries started exploding on planes. Play it too safe, and your battery is too big, too heavy, too weak to compete. This trade-off is why companies have invested over $100 billion trying to crack the next generation of batteries. And it's why the winners of the battery war weren't always the ones with the best technology. They were the ones who knew which trade-off to make. By 1990, the race was on. The world was about to go portable. Laptops, camcorders, mobile phones. And they all needed batteries that didn't weigh a kilogram. Here were the main players. Sony, Japanese electronics giant, betting everything on lithium-ion despite fire risks. Investment: $2 billion from 1991 to 1995. Panasonic, Sony's rival. Hedging with nickel metal hydride, or NIMH. Safer, but lower energy density. Samsung, Korean latecomer with massive R&D budgets. Strategy: copy Sony's approach but improve manufacturing. Sanyo, market leader in nickel-cadmium (NiCad) batteries, refusing to abandon proven, profitable technology. And decades later, QuantumScape, Toyota, Samsung SDI, all betting billions on solid-state batteries. The Holy Grail: double the density, zero fire risk. The prize? Control of what would become a $110 billion market by 2025. But the decision that separated winners from losers came down to one moment. 1991. Sony had to decide. Ship lithium-ion batteries now, before all the safety problems were solved. Or wait until the technology was mature. Everyone said wait. Sony shipped anyway. In 1991, Sony commercialized the first lithium-ion battery. It was a $2 billion bet on a chemistry that had killed researchers in labs. Early prototypes? They caught fire, violently. But Sony saw what others didn't. Portability was about to explode as a market. Laptops were getting smaller, camcorders were going mainstream, and Nokia was about to make mobile phones a mass product. NIMH batteries, Panasonic's safe bet, delivered 60 watt-hours per kilogram. Sony's lithium-ion, 100 watt-hours per kilogram. That 40% difference meant Sony phones could be 40% smaller, Sony laptops could run twice as long, Sony camcorders could fit in your hand. Meanwhile, Panasonic stuck with safety. Their NIMH batteries powered the booming digital camera market. Zero fires, happy customers. At first, this looked smart. But by 1998, the turning point. Nokia, the world's largest phone maker, standardized on lithium-ion for all future models. They didn't choose Sony because it was safer. They chose Sony because consumers wanted smaller phones. Panasonic's safe bet became a dead end. By 2000, Sony controlled 70% of the portable battery market. Panasonic was stuck in commoditized NIMH, racing to the bottom on price. Sanyo's NICAD business was dying. Toxic cadmium equals regulatory nightmare. The gap became unbridgeable. Sony had won the chemistry war by optimizing for the future, not the present. But Sony made a critical mistake. They treated batteries like a component business. High margins, low volume, premium customers. Then in 2008, a car company changed everything. Tesla didn't invent lithium-ion batteries. They didn't even manufacture them. What they did was radical. They bought 7,000 commodity laptop batteries, the same cells Sony sold to Dell and HP, and strung them together into a battery pack for a sports car. Everyone said it was insane. You can't use laptop batteries in cars. The fire risk is too high. It'll never scale. But Tesla saw what Sony didn't. The future wasn't premium, custom batteries. The future was manufacturing scale. In 2017, Tesla and Panasonic opened Gigafactory 1 in Nevada. Cost, $5 billion. Production capacity, 35 gigawatt-hours per year, more than the entire global production of lithium-ion batteries in 2013. This wasn't a battery factory. It was a battery printing press. By 2020, Tesla and Panasonic controlled 35% of the EV battery market. Sony? 0%. They had won the chemistry war but lost the manufacturing war because they optimized for margins, not volume. But wait, what about the next generation? Solid-state batteries have been the future since 1995. The promise? Double the energy density of lithium-ion. Zero fire risk. No liquid electrolyte to combust. The investment so far, over $10 billion. The revenue generated, $0. QuantumScape, backed by Volkswagen and Bill Gates, reached a $47 billion valuation in 2020. Today, $1.2 billion. Still zero commercial products. Toyota has been promising solid-state EVs since 2008. Latest announcement, coming 2027. They've said this before. Samsung SDI has working prototypes in labs. But scaling to mass production? Manufacturing hell, as one engineer called it. Why do they all keep failing? Because the same pattern is repeating. QuantumScape is betting on commercialization before problems are solved, just like Sony in 1991. Toyota is waiting for the technology to fully mature, just like Panasonic. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Today, the lithium-ion battery market is worth $110 billion. Sony pioneered it. But they're no longer a major player. Tesla and Panasonic, the unlikely alliance, control 32% of the EV battery market, worth $35 billion annually. Their moat? Vertical integration. Gigafactories producing batteries at a scale no one else can match. 100 gigawatt-hours per year across all facilities. China's CATL recently overtook Tesla as #1, not through better technology, but through government subsidies and captive market access. Meanwhile, the losers, Sanyo, who refused to abandon NICAD, was acquired by Panasonic in 2009 for $9 billion. At their peak in 1998, $30 billion valuation. They make exactly 0 batteries today. Sony spun off their battery division in 2016, selling to Murata Manufacturing. They exited the market they created. Solid-state startups. Burning cash, pushing timelines, still promising next year. But the war isn't over. The next battlefield, sodium-ion, cheaper, more abundant than lithium, silicon anodes with 50% more capacity, and yes, solid-state, if anyone can actually manufacture it. And the pattern is emerging again. KTL is betting on sodium-ion commercialization now, even though energy density is lower. Western companies are waiting for perfect solid-state. We've seen this movie before. The future belongs to those who ship. So what's the lesson from the battery war? Sony won because they optimized for the future market, not the present. They accepted short-term risk, fires, costs, criticism for long-term dominance. Panasonic lost because they optimized for safety over performance. When the market prioritized performance, they had nothing. Tesla won because they understood batteries were becoming a commodity. Margins would compress. Scale would win. They built the printing press. Sony lost again because they treated batteries as premium components. They optimized for margins while Tesla optimized for volume. This reveals 3 rules about technology wars. Rule 1. First mover advantage in manufacturing beats technical superiority in labs. TSMC versus Intel. Amazon AWS versus everyone. Google Search versus Yahoo. The company that ships first and scales fastest wins, even if the technology isn't perfect. Rule 2. The safer choice is often the riskiest long-term. Kodak stuck with film. Safe, profitable. Nokia stuck with Symbian. Safe, proven. Panasonic stuck with NIMH. Safe, mature. All dead or irrelevant. Rule 3. In winner-take-all markets, second place is first loser. Network effects and scale advantages compound brutally. 70% market share leads to more R&D budget, leads to better products, leads to 80% market share. Second place gets stuck in a doom loop. If you're a product manager, founder, or investor, ask yourself, are you optimizing for today's metrics or tomorrow's market? Are you waiting for perfect or shipping good enough? Because the battery war teaches us, the future doesn't belong to the best technology. It belongs to the technology that ships first and scales fastest. And sometimes the best technology never ships at all. The battery war wasn't just about chemistry. It was about who was willing to bet on a dangerous future and ship before it was safe. Sony won by taking that risk, then lost by refusing to scale. Tesla won by turning commodity into dominance. And solid state, still waiting for its moment.